All right, good morning, Reformation and Facebook and whoever else might see this video. Pastor Jason asked a couple of us to do some devotions during this Lenten time, and it is still Lent, even though Maundy, Thursday is about 3 days away. I knew I needed to get this video done, so I am sitting in a grocery store parking lot. My boys are taken care of, and it's the first few moments I've had, so I will be honest, I got myself a Starbucks, and I'm just taking a moment because it's spring break and it's been tough, I know, for everybody, and we all have our own ways of kind of coping. Anyway, the verse that I chose was Jeremiah 29, 10 through 14. And for those of you who know your Jeremiah 29, verse 11 is right in the middle of that. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to make you prosper and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Now, I'm a Lutheran girl. I don't know my Bible inside out, but there are a few verses that I can recite on cue, and that is definitely one of them. I chose this verse because when I think about God saying, "I have plans for you, plans to make you prosper, not to harm you," I often wondered, what about the bad things that happen to people? Did God plan for that bad thing? We can go into even extreme cases of rape and poverty, abuse. And then we can even go into like some minor things of being bullied at school, or being someone takes something from you, or you're robbed. And I have come to believe in my 30-something years of life and I guess discipleship, that God doesn't plan these bad things out. We believe in a God who is love and compassionate and justice. And if that's the case, then why would God orchestrate these bad things? Well, we also know that humans have free will. We have the will that we can choose to do good and choose to do bad. And it's only through Christ's power in our life that we often make the better choice, not actually on our own terms. So what I've learned over the course of my own struggles with family stuff and self-image, that God doesn't plan bad things for you. What I believe is God uses everything for his good. So instead of God saying, yes, I'm going to plan that someone is going to break into your home, steal your jewelry, steal your computer, steal your dog, because it's going to make you stronger and it's going to make you a better person, what winds up happening is God said, I didn't plan that. Somebody was desperate enough to break into your home, to steal your stuff for you to feel violated, that I'm going to be with you through that. I'm going to be with you as you make those tough phone calls, as you cry to each other, as you actually try to find your lost dog, and know that I am holding you together. I am putting a community of support around you to help you through this. I have a plan to use this bad thing to my glory. Another thing that we can see this in is family relationships. Sometimes things don't go the way they should, and family members become upset with one another, and maybe they don't talk for a while, and someone might be left wondering, why did you allow this to happen? But God is saying, listen, this happened. I didn't cause it, but I am with you through this. I'm going to work through this, and I'm going to make this better for you. And you're going to grow, and you're going to learn. And maybe that relationship is restored, and maybe it's not. But when you put your hope and trust in God, that it allows God to kind of come in and use those things for good. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not some magical prayer that you say, okay, God, fix this, and God's going to do that. It is a daily walk of trusting in God's will in your life, and trusting that when you're confused on what to do, sometimes you don't have to do anything, and it's just to be still. The other two verses in that section, 12, 13, 14, go into talking about calling upon the Lord when you need the Lord. So it's not just this like, oh, I kind of know Jesus and Jesus is going to fix my life and I don't have to do anything. You don't actually have to do anything except communicate to Christ, pray to Christ, and turn your eyes to Christ when things are bad. And that can be really difficult, especially when you're young. When you don't have a ton of life experience, but your emotions are strong and they're to the surface, and you're trying to make sense of this world that maybe you've only been in for 12 or 13 or 14 years. There's people who've been living on this earth for 50 years and still don't have this understood. But I wanted to share it with you to help you make sense of that very, very popular verse, Jeremiah 29:11, that when bad things happen, when devastating things happen, when you've been robbed of your dignity, God didn't do that. But God is faithful and God is in your life. And when we turn to God with our pain and our suffering, God will use that. It might take 3 days and sometimes it takes 8 years. But I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in other people's lives. And especially during this time, if ever there was a time for us to say, where is God? God's saying, I didn't plan coronavirus. This is something that happened, but I am with you and I have a plan for you. And we are going to get through this. We're going to be better on the outside of this. I pray for anyone who has been touched by this illness or disease personally in their life. We haven't. We do have a family member who is immunocompromised, so we're being really careful. But we will be back together again. And all of us have now shared this experience. So with that, it is Holy Week. I am praying that you're taking some time and thinking about what it means to be in a tomb, and that we will have our own Easter in a couple months or a couple weeks, who knows.